We're going to start refactoring the Hangman class using object-oriented programming. Hey, Code Operative here, helping you reach further faster in the programming world. If this is our first time meeting, welcome to the channel. The Code Operative channel is for developers of any level. This is a resource that will help you feel confident in your skills and solutions. Now, if that sounds appealing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, the bell, and keep on watching to build your programming muscle. Alright, let's get started on refactoring this using objects. First thing I'm going to want to do is change the directory structure so that it follows the Maven standard. First I need to add a main. And then inside main, I need to add Java. I'm going to move Hangman into there. And you'll see at the top that the IDE has automatically added package main.java. Now we're not done yet. In here, we want to add the domain name reversed. So com.thecodeoperative, and then the name of your project. So Hangman project, and then move Hangman into there. Alright, so now we have our directory structure. So let me show you what this looks like, just to make it clear that I'm not just adding a folder with a really long name. So we start at source. Inside source we have main, then Java, then com, the code operative, Hangman project, and in here we have our Java source file. Cool. Next thing we're going to do is let's kind of go through this again, just to recap the code. So we have our scanner, which is reading input from system.in, which is the stuff that you type in the console. We have an empty string called input. We have another string called mystery, which has the word operative. Okay, so this is the word that we're trying to guess. We have a boolean playing, which is set to true, so this tells us whether or not we are playing. And then we set the mystery word to uppercase. And then the first thing we do is print out how long the word is. And then we go into a do while loop, do while playing. So, as you know, with a do while loop, it does, and then it checks the while condition. So it says, prints out to the console, press L to guess a letter, press W to guess a word, press Q to quit. Kind of a little menu for our user. And then we're setting input equal to character.toString input reader dot next line dot to uppercase dot char at 0. That's a lot. So what this is doing, if we go to the innermost thing first, we're going to our input reader and we're grabbing the next line. So everything in a line up to the new line character. We're transforming that to uppercase, and then we're grabbing the character, the very first character. And then we are transforming that character into a string. So an alternative way to write this would have been something like this: input reader dot next line dot to uppercase dot substring, and then 0, 1. So if we run this with this alternative function, And the reason we're able to call all these things is because string is an object, not a primitive. So objects have methods built into them. Alright, so let's press L. Guess a letter? Type a letter. Okay, so it worked. Oh, there are 1 O's. Cool. So we just wanted to make sure that it still worked, which it does. Let's go ahead and get rid of this confusing line. So how substring works is you input the first index you want to go to, and then the last index you want to go to. And you stop before this. This is non-inclusive. So substring from 0 up until you hit 1, which will only take the first character that the user writes. So for example, if the user writes hello, this is the 0th index, this is the first index. So it's from 0, starting at 0, go to 1, which is just H. Cool. And we will use this code here and here. And here. So I just copied this code 3 places. You know what that tells me? That means that that should probably go in a method. So why don't we create an input object? So we'll create a user input object, or class. And this user input object is, we're going to hide the implementation that we are using to get, actually, let's use the same naming scheme. Press Alt-Enter to fix the imports. Okay. We will create a constructor, and inside this constructor, let's initialize input reader. Okay. And we're going to make this final because we set it in the constructor and we're not going to change it. So what are the functions that the input is performing? Well, let's look. Input reader. All right. So here seems to be a menu selection. So what does this return? It looks like it returns, we're going to need a string. So public string, and we will say select menu item. Okay. In select menu item, we will say this. Because every time we call the select menu item, we want to tell the user what they need to do. And then we're going to return this code. Cool. All right. So let's create a new object, user input. User input equals new user input. And then instead of doing this, what I'm going to do is say input equals user input dot select menu item. Now look, please type the letter. And then it does this code again. Okay, so how do we generalize this? Well, let's create a private function that returns a string, and it's get user selection. We're going to copy this to here, and we'll get rid of this code. Just do get user selection. Cool. So here they're selecting a letter. So that sounds like something that the user input needs to take care of. Get user letter guess. So they're guessing a letter. So now we're gonna take this code and we're gonna return get user selection. So once again, they're only grabbing one character. So now we can get rid of this and say input equals user input dot get user letter guess. Okay, so we also have this print line. Let's incorporate that in this. So what we'll do is we'll create a new variable here. We'll call it guess, make it local, add the print line, and then we will return guess. So now we can get rid of this. What are we getting? We're getting the user's final guess. And in here, we can just copy all this stuff. Change the input to string guess. And we can return guess. And we'll get rid of all this stuff. We'll just say input equals user input dot get user final guess. And here we go again with another input selection at the end. Would you like to play again? So public string get user play again. And get user play again just prints out, would you like to play again? And then once again gets the user selection. So as you can see, input reader is now grayed out. So we've replaced all instances of the scanner in this class, and now it's hidden. So we can just delete all that stuff. And we've made our first object that completely hides the implementation of scanner. So if later we want to get our input from somewhere else, we only have to change it in this piece here, because this is where we're getting all of our user input. And it makes a little bit more sense because all of our methods have names that tell us what is happening, right? Do first select a menu item. All right. If they've selected L, then first we want to get the user's letter guess. And then we do all of the logic that we had before. And then here, if they select W, we want to get the user's final guess from the user input. And then once they're done selecting that, and you know whether or not you've lost, you get the user's play again. Meaning, do they want to play again or not? And then the while checks to whether or not they're playing. And if they are, goes through the loop again. It's all very straightforward with the user input extraction. Well, that's it for this segment. How else can we improve this class? Let me know in the comments down below.